"You've got until tonight," I said. Madison Crawford blinked at me like I'd just told her the servers run on prayer and LinkedIn connections. "Excuse me?" I slid my security badge across the conference table. It stopped right between her $7 cold brew and the severance paperwork. "Until tonight, maybe 10 p.m. Then the wheels come off. I don't understand what you're trying to—" "You will." I stood up, smoothed down my shirt. Good luck finding my documentation. Then I walked out of that conference room for the last time. My name is Charles Patterson. Most folks call me Chuck. I'm 48 years old and I just got fired by a 28-year-old who thinks legacy infrastructure means anything built before she got her MBA. Let me back up and tell you how we got here. You can tell a company's real priorities by who gets the corner office and who gets the server room. At Pinnacle Systems Corp in Austin, the server room smelled like burnt circuits and 15 years of keeping things running. The corner office smelled like expensive perfume and unearned confidence. I'd been keeping the digital backbone of this place alive since 2009. Senior systems engineer was my title, but what I actually did was more like being a combat medic for dying code, the kind of work nobody notices until it stops happening. Air Force taught me that. Systems fail, people panic, someone's got to stay calm and fix it. The trouble started when Madison wheeled in her standing desk setup to the executive floor. Kid graduated Stanford with an MBA and 6 months at McKinsey under her belt. Oh, and she's the CEO's daughter. 3 months after joining, she's Chief Technology Officer. 3 months. I'd spent longer than that fixing our payment processing system after a vendor update went sideways in 2020. Madison was 28, wore designer everything, and had AirPods permanently installed. Pretty sure she slept with them. She had that MBA confidence and exactly zero understanding of how anything actually worked under the hood. But she had opinions, lots of them. Her first all-hands meeting, she stood up there with her cold brew and started throwing around buzzwords like technical debt and legacy overhead. Said we needed to move fast and break things. I sat in the back row, arms crossed, thinking about the 36-hour shift I'd pulled in 2021 when ransomware tried to take down our finance department. I'd stopped those things from breaking. She wanted to break them on purpose and call it innovation. "We're entering a bold new phase," Madison announced, clicking through slides that looked like she'd stolen them from someone's TED Talk. "Legacy infrastructure is holding us back. We need fresh approaches, modern thinking, and honestly, fewer people stuck in old ways of doing things." People shifted in their seats. I didn't move. I'd heard versions of this speech before, just different words. Old equals bad. Experience equals expensive. Nobody under 30 thinks they need the guy who remembers fixing Y2K bugs. She looked right at me during that last part. Direct eye contact. Fewer people stuck in old ways. I held her gaze and smiled, the kind of smile you give someone when you know something they don't. What Madison didn't know, couldn't know because she'd never bothered to ask, was that I'd built the automation scripts keeping our entire vendor management system running. Every Thursday at 10 p.m., my code patched inconsistencies, caught billing errors before clients saw them, kept the whole thing from falling apart. I'd written it all back in 2014 after the third time someone's quick fix almost deleted our entire customer database. Those scripts were mine, legally mine. My contract was explicit about intellectual property. Anything I created on my own time using my own methods belonged to me. The company could license them, but only while I was actively employed and providing weekly maintenance updates. No employment, no maintenance, no license. I'd shown that contract to our lawyer when I signed it in 2009. He'd read it carefully, looked up at me and said, "Keep good records, Chuck." I kept excellent records. Madison kept talking about her vision. Cloud, first everything, AI-driven infrastructure, agile sprints. I stopped listening and started thinking about my daughter Sarah's tuition payment due next month. She's 20, junior at UT Austin, majoring in engineering like her old man. Smart kid, got her mother's brains and my stubborn streak. I thought about the health insurance covering her diabetes medication, about the pension that would max out in 2 more years when I hit 50 with full early retirement benefits. I'd been at this 15 years. I could make it 2 more. That's what I told myself. My wife Linda had died 5 years ago. Cancer took her in 8 months, and suddenly I was a single father trying to keep everything together. Sarah was 15 then, lost and angry and scared. We got through it, me and her. Built something stronger than what we had before. Now she was in college, studying to be an engineer, and I'd be damned if some privileged kid with an MBA was going to mess up her future. 2 weeks after that meeting, I got the calendar invite. Subject line, quick sync, HR. No agenda, no context, just a 4:30 p.m. slot on a Thursday afternoon. I'd watched this happen to other people over the years. The late-day meetings, the carefully neutral HR rep, the manila folder with severance terms. They never did it in the morning. Too risky. Someone might make a scene, ruin everyone's productivity. I showed up at 4:28 p.m., professional to the end. Madison was there, sitting casual on the edge of the conference table. Angela from HR sat in the corner, looking like she'd rather be literally anywhere else. She pushed a branded folder across the table toward me. "Chuck," Madison started, and I could tell she'd practiced this in the mirror. "You've been an important part of Pinnacle's journey, really important. But we're restructuring to align with where the industry is heading. More agile, more collaborative, more forward-focused." I didn't blink, just waited. "We're reimagining certain legacy positions," she continued. Translation: "Old man, you're expensive and you make me look stupid when I suggest things that won't work. We think this is the right time for you to explore new opportunities that better match your experience level." Angela slid the severance agreement forward. 10 weeks salary, COBRA health insurance for 18 months if you enroll within 60 days, and outplacement support services. I picked up the paper, scanned the legal terms. I used to audit our vendor contracts before Madison decided that was bureaucratic waste. "Any questions?" Madison asked. She was smiling, actually smiling like she'd done me a favor. That's when I said it. "You've got until tonight." I didn't go home. Walked 3 blocks down to Rodriguez's place, this veteran's bar where the owner knew to pour Maker's Mark without asking. Found my usual corner booth where I could still see the Pinnacle building through the window. 12th floor, all lit up like nothing had changed. Phone went face down on the scarred wood table. No calls yet, no frantic texts, just the low murmur of the TV over the bar and the crack of pool balls in the back room. Tony Rodriguez, the owner, brought over the bourbon. Ex-Army, ran communications systems in Iraq before retiring to Texas and opening this place. He was maybe 54, gray beard, steady hands from years of not panicking when things went sideways in combat. Lost his left pinky to an IED in Fallujah, but he never talked about it. He set the glass down, looked at my face, looked at the phone, back at my face. "They finally do it?" "Yep." "How long you give them?" "Until 10 tonight, maybe a little after." He pulled out the chair across from me, sat down with his own coffee. Strong black stuff that could strip paint. "You remember when I told you about Fort Hood?" I did, but I let him tell it again. Sometimes you need to hear you're not the only one. 2018, Tony said. 16 years managing base communications, clearance, the whole 9 yards. New commanding officer comes in, West Point hotshot, couldn't tell a router from a coffee maker. Starts talking about optimizing personnel and right-sizing legacy positions. He took a sip of coffee. Fired me on a Friday. By Tuesday, their entire communications network was down. Turns out I was the only one who knew the backup protocols for the classified systems. "They call you back?" "Oh yeah." Offered me contractor rates to fix it. I told them my consulting fee was 4 times my old salary. Minimum 3-month contract paid up front. He smiled, the kind of smile that comes from seeing justice served. They paid it. Took me 2 days to fix what they broke in 4. Then I walked. "That's when you bought this place?" "That's when I bought this place. Best decision I ever made." He gestured around the bar. No commanding officers, no performance reviews, just serve good drinks, listen to people's problems, go home when I want. My phone buzzed. Once, twice, started vibrating continuously like an angry wasp. Tony glanced at it. "That them?" "Yep." "You going to answer?" "Nope." He nodded, stood up. "You need anything?" "I'm at the bar." I picked up the bourbon, took a slow sip. The burn felt good, felt real. Here's what nobody tells you about being the person who holds everything together. You become invisible. Not because you're bad at your job, but because you're too good at it. Things just work. Systems hum along, and people forget someone's making that happen. They forget until you stop. My scripts weren't complicated, just solid automation built on 15 years of watching things break. Every Thursday at 10 p.m., they'd run through the vendor database, catch duplicate entries, flag expired contracts, reconcile invoice mismatches. Every Friday at 6 a.m., they'd verify API connections, test backup systems, validate data integrity. Boring work, critical work, the kind nobody notices until it doesn't happen. I'd tried explaining this to Madison about 2 months back. Showed her the dashboard, walked her through the error logs, demonstrated how one small failure could cascade into major problems. She'd listened for maybe 30 seconds before cutting me off. Right, but modern platforms have built-in redundancy, she'd said, not looking up from her phone. This kind of manual oversight is anti-agile. We need to trust the systems. The systems fail, I'd told her. That's why we have oversight. That's old thinking, Chuck. We're moving toward autonomous infrastructure. I'd pulled up the logs from last year when our autonomous infrastructure went down for 12 hours. Showed her how my backup systems kept customer operations running while everyone else panicked. She'd scrolled through maybe 3 lines. Exactly, she'd said. Single points of failure. That's what we need to eliminate. I was the single point of failure she wanted to eliminate. My phone lit up again. Angela from HR, then someone from procurement, then a number I didn't recognize. Probably someone from corporate. I let them all ring. Around 9:30 p.m., the calls started coming faster. Text from procurement popped up on my screen. Chuck, vendor system acting weird. Invoices duplicating. You know what's going on? I typed back, check the documentation. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, what documentation? I put the phone back down and smiled. See, there was documentation, 150 pages of it. Process flows, system diagrams, recovery procedures, emergency contacts, vendor information. I'd written it myself over the years, updated it quarterly, kept it current, stored it in the shared drive under a folder clearly labeled Critical Infrastructure. C. Patterson. Madison had that folder deleted 4 weeks ago during a storage optimization audit, said it was legacy bloat taking up space. I'd objected in writing. She'd overruled me in an email that said, "We're moving toward cloud-based knowledge management. Static documents are a crutch." I'd kept my own copy, of course, on my personal laptop, which was currently in my F-150 parked outside. At 10:07 p.m., my phone went crazy. Call after call, text after text. The scripts had run their course, and now the fun was starting. The TV over the bar flickered to the local business channel. Breaking news banner scrolled across the bottom. Pinnacle Systems stock drops 15% in after-hours trading amid reports of technical difficulties. Tony glanced at the screen, then at me, raised an eyebrow. Didn't say anything, just brought the bottle over and refilled my glass. My phone started ringing continuously now. Different numbers cycling through. Same panic, different voices. Text from Angela. Chuck, please call me. We need to talk about transition procedures. Text from Madison. Hey, hope you're doing okay. Quick question. Where are the vendor API configs stored? Then another from Madison. This is urgent. Please respond when you can. Then, Chuck, I know we didn't end things well, but we really need your help here. I finished my bourbon, held up the empty glass toward Tony. The bar was getting busier now, other veterans filtering in after their own long days, guys who understood what it meant to be the one person who knew how to keep things running. Stock's down 15%, Tony said quietly. Just getting started, I said. You sabotage anything? Didn't touch a thing. Just stop fixing it. There a difference? I looked at him. Big difference. Sabotage is breaking something that works. This is just letting broken things stay broken. He thought about that, nodded slowly. Sometimes the best way to show people what you're worth is to stop being worth it to them. Behind me, the TV anchor was talking. Sources inside the company report widespread system failures affecting multiple departments, with some calling it the worst technical outage in the company's 12-year history. I picked up my phone, scrolled through the messages. 31 now. The desperation was ramping up. Around midnight, I finally headed home. Phone stayed in the truck. Sarah had texted earlier before the meeting. Good luck today, Dad. Love you. She didn't know I'd been fired yet. Didn't know her insulin coverage just became a problem. Didn't know I'd spent 2 years counting on a pension that just evaporated. But she'd know I didn't beg, didn't crawl back, didn't compromise who I was for people who never valued it. I slept better that night than I had in months. No 10 p.m. anxiety about whether the scripts were running, no Friday morning checks to make sure backups completed, just solid, uninterrupted sleep. Woke up at 6 a.m. to find my phone had exploded overnight. 89 messages, 47 missed calls, 8 voicemails from numbers I didn't recognize. Made coffee using the French press Sarah gave me for Christmas. Strong black coffee, just like Tony's. Sat at the kitchen table and finally started reading. The timestamps told the whole story. 10:12 p.m. Thursday. Automated email routing failed. Messages started bouncing back to clients. 10:47 p.m. Vendor database sync through. Errors. Duplicate entries multiplying like cancer. 11:23 p.m. API authentication started failing. Client portals locked out completely. 12:15 a.m. Friday. Billing system couldn't reconcile invoices. Processing stopped dead. 1:30 a.m. Backup verification failed. No one noticed because no one was watching. By 6 a.m. when the East Coast business day started, Pinnacle Systems was dead in the water. I read through Angela's emails first. Professional panic, the corporate kind where people use lots of words to say we're screwed without actually saying it. Chuck, we understand you're no longer with the company, but we're experiencing critical system issues. Any guidance you could provide would be greatly appreciated. Please call me at your earliest convenience. Then came Darren from procurement. Man, I don't know what's happening, but everything's broken. Email, vendors, billing, all of it. Can you at least point us in the right direction? Then one from someone named Jennifer in IT, Mr. Patterson. I'm new on the infrastructure team. They're asking me to fix issues with systems I've never seen before. Is there any documentation I can reference? I deleted them all without responding. Around 8 a.m. my daughter called. Dad, you sound different. What's going on? Just dealing with some work stuff, honey. What kind of work stuff? I thought about lying, protecting her from it, but Sarah was 20, not 12. She was studying engineering, understood how systems worked. She deserved the truth. They let me go yesterday. Silence on the line. Then, they fired you? After 15 years? New management. They wanted younger, cheaper, more agile. I used air quotes she couldn't see. Dad, that's age discrimination. You could sue them. Maybe. Right now, I'm just letting things play out. What does that mean? It means the company's having some technical problems without me there. Another pause. Then quietly, good. I hope they crash and burn. That made me smile. My daughter, the engineer, she understood that when you remove a critical component, systems fail. How's school? School's fine. Are you going to be okay? What about insurance? My insulin? I've got it covered. Don't worry about that. I didn't mention that Cobra would cost me $800 a month. How's that thermodynamics class giving you trouble? Still kicking my butt, but I'll figure it out. I'm a Patterson. We don't quit. No, we don't. After we hung up, I sat there holding the phone. Proud of her. Smart kid. Tougher than she knew. Just like her mother. The phone rang. Unknown number with a 512 area code. Local. I answered. Mr. Patterson? Professional woman's voice. This is Patricia Keene from Blackwater Defense Systems. I hope this isn't a bad time. I've got time. We've been following your career for a while. We're impressed with your work. She paused. We'd like to make you an offer. Infrastructure consulting position, 6-month renewable contract, 60% increase over your previous salary, full benefits, and most importantly, you'd be working with people who actually understand what you do. What's the catch? No catch. We need someone who builds things right the first time instead of breaking them and calling it innovation. We're tired of cleaning up after MBAs who think cloud means magic. I almost laughed. When do you need an answer? Take the weekend. Think it over. But Chuck, we've watched you hold that company together for years. We know what you're worth, even if they didn't. After she hung up, I poured another cup of coffee and opened my laptop. Time to see how bad things really were. Pinnacle's website was running slow. Customer portal showed maintenance mode. Corporate speak for everything's broken. Their stock had dropped another 8% overnight. Social media was lighting up with complaints from clients who couldn't access their accounts. The local business news was having a field day. Pinnacle Systems faces major technical crisis following personnel changes. Personnel changes. Nice euphemism for firing the guy who kept everything running. By noon, the messages from Pinnacle had shifted from professional to desperate. Madison had called 6 times from different numbers, left voicemails that went from casual to panicked. "Hey, Chuck, no hard feelings, right? We just need some quick help here. Chuck, please. The board is asking questions I can't answer. Chuck, I'm sorry. Okay? I made a mistake. Can we talk?" I deleted every single one. Around 2 p.m., someone knocked on my door. Middle-aged guy in a cheap suit, nervous energy, process server. I knew before he opened his mouth. "Charles Patterson? That's me." He handed me an envelope. "You're being served." I opened it right there on the porch. Not a lawsuit. They wanted me as a witness. Meridian Logistics had filed suit against Pinnacle for breach of contract. Their shipment tracking system had been down for 18 hours, cost them a major delivery to Dell. They were seeking $1.2 million in damages. The lawyer's cover letter was interesting. "Mr. Patterson, your expertise regarding Pinnacle's technical infrastructure is material to this case. We understand you recently separated from the company and may have insights into systemic vulnerabilities." Systemic vulnerabilities. That was one way to put it. By 4 p.m., 3 more clients had filed suit. Ransom Industries for $800,000, Texas Wholesale for $600,000, Southwest Distribution for $900,000. The pattern was clear. Anyone whose business depended on Pinnacle systems was lawyering up. That evening, I drove back to Rodriguez's place. Same corner booth, same view of the Pinnacle building. This time, half the lights were off. People working late, trying to fix things they didn't understand. Tony brought over the maker's mark without being asked. "How'd it go today?" "Good. Got a job offer. Better pay, better company." "That fast?" Turns out word travels in this business. When someone gets screwed over, people notice. He sat down across from me. "Stock's down 23% now, just the beginning. How many lawsuits?" "4 so far. More coming." Tony whistled low. "You know what the best part is?" "What's that?" "You didn't have to do anything except stop doing what you were doing." I raised my glass. Sometimes the best revenge is just walking away. We drank to that. On the TV over the bar, the business news was running another story. Pinnacle Systems faces mounting legal challenges as technical outages enter second day. Stock down 23% as clients report significant losses. My phone buzzed one more time. Text from Madison. "Chuck, I'll do anything. Just please help us." I turned the phone face down and ordered another bourbon. Some lessons you learn the hard way. 3 weeks went by. The messages kept coming, getting more desperate. Madison tried calling from different numbers, left voicemails that went from casual to frantic to something approaching begging. I deleted every single one without listening to the end. By week 4, the SEC had opened an investigation into whether Pinnacle had properly disclosed technical vulnerabilities to shareholders. That's when the subpoena arrived at my house. Certified mail, thick envelope, law firm letterhead I recognized from the business news. They weren't suing me. They wanted me to testify. "Mr. Patterson, you are hereby requested to provide expert testimony in the matter of consolidated shareholders versus Pinnacle Systems Corporation. Your technical expertise and documentation of prior warnings are material to this case." I read it twice. They wanted everything. Email warnings, meeting notes, incident reports, every time I'd flagged a risk and been overruled, every time Madison had called my concerns legacy thinking. I had all of it, time-stamped, archived, backed up in 3 locations. The lawyer called that afternoon. "Mr. Patterson, I want to be clear. You're not in any legal trouble. We need you to explain in plain language what happened and why." They fired the person holding everything together, then acted surprised when it fell apart. "Can you say that in a deposition?" "I can say it under oath." "Good. We'll schedule it for next month. Give discovery time to develop. In the meantime, if Pinnacle contacts you, don't engage. Forward everything to us. They've been contacting me for 3 weeks. I haven't responded once." He actually laughed. "Perfect. Keep doing exactly that." I hung up and called Blackwater Defense Systems. Accepted their offer. 2 months later, I sat in a deposition room that looked exactly like you'd expect. Long conference table, court reporter in the corner, lawyers in suits that cost more than my truck. They swore me in and started asking questions. The lead attorney was a woman named Sarah Mitchell, same first name as my daughter, which felt like a good sign. She was maybe 45, sharp eyes and sharper questions. She slid a stack of printed emails across the table. "Mr. Patterson, are these emails from you to Madison Crawford and other Pinnacle management?" I looked at them. My own words highlighted in yellow. Yes, ma'am. Can you read the subject line of the first one? Warning, vendor contract expirations Q1 2023. And the date? March 15th, 2023. What was the response to this warning? I flipped to the reply. Madison's words looked even more arrogant on paper. Thanks for the flag. We're moving to automated contract management soon, so this won't be an issue going forward. Did they implement automated contract management? No, ma'am. 2 vendor contracts expired in April. Cost about $90,000 in emergency reactivation fees. Sarah pulled out another document. This is an internal Slack message from Ms. Crawford dated May 3rd, 2023. Can you read what she wrote? I read it silently first, then out loud. Chuck's paranoid about compliance stuff. Old school thinking. We need to move faster than his comfort level allows. How did you respond to this message? I didn't. It wasn't directed at me. I saw it later when we pulled the message logs for this lawsuit. Mr. Patterson, in your 15 years at Pinnacle, how many critical system failures did you prevent? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I stopped tracking after about 40. Could be 60. Could be more. Can you give us an example? October 2021. Ransomware attack targeted our finance department. I caught the signature in the logs at 2 a.m., quarantined the infected systems, rebuilt the network from clean backups. Management never even heard the word malware because we stopped it that early. Did you receive recognition for this? Got an email from my manager saying good work, no bonus, no promotion. Sarah looked at the other lawyers, then back at me. Mr. Patterson, can you explain in simple terms what your automation scripts actually did? I spent 20 minutes walking them through it. How the scripts ran every Thursday night, checking thousands of data points. How they caught duplicate vendor entries before they created billing errors. How they verified backup integrity so we'd actually have data if something went wrong. How they monitored API connections and tested failover systems. Boring work, critical work, the kind nobody notices until it doesn't happen. These scripts, who owned them? I did. My employment contract was explicit. Anything I created on my own time using my own methods belonged to me. The company could license them while I was employed and providing weekly maintenance. So when they terminated your employment, the license terminated. That's standard contract law. Ms. Crawford has stated in her deposition that you sabotaged the systems. How do you respond? I looked directly at the camera recording this. I didn't touch anything. I revoked access to tools I owned when the licensing agreement ended with my employment. That's not sabotage. That's property rights. Did you warn them this would happen? I told Madison directly in the termination meeting that systems would fail without the scripts. She didn't believe me. Why not? Because she didn't understand what the scripts did. She never asked. She just knew they were old code. And in her mind, old meant bad. Sarah smiled slightly. One final question, Mr. Patterson. Knowing what you know now, would you have done anything differently? I thought about that. Really thought about it. I would have left 3 years earlier. The settlement came through 2 months later. Total payout, $7.8 million. Madison quietly left the company, her LinkedIn now describing her as an innovation consultant. Corporate speak for unemployed. The CEO retired early, citing health reasons. I never reached out, never gloated, never even checked their website. I was too busy building something that actually worked. Today, I'm at Blackwater Defense Systems, designing infrastructure that needs to work the first time because lives depend on it. People listen when I explain why something's a bad idea. My team includes 3 other veterans, guys who understand that experience isn't a liability, it's an asset. Sarah's graduating this spring with her engineering degree, Dean's List, just like her mother. She's already got 2 job offers lined up, good companies that value competence over buzzwords. Last week she called me at work. Dad, you know what my thermodynamics professor said yesterday? He said the most dangerous engineer is the one who thinks they know everything without understanding anything. Smart professor. Made me think of you. And your old boss. That evening, I sat on my back porch with a maker's mark, not celebrating anything, just unwinding. My neighbor Bill, retired Marine, wandered over with his own drink. We sat there in comfortable silence, watching the sunset. Heard Pinnacle finally sold to that company out of Dallas, he said eventually. Fire sale price, I heard. Funny how things work out. I thought about that. Thought about the last year. Better job, better pay, respect, time with my daughter. sleep at night without worrying about systems failing. You know what the best revenge is? I said. What's that? Just letting people fail on their own terms. There's a difference between sabotage and absence. One makes you the villain, the other just makes you gone. 15 years I gave that company. They threw it away in 15 minutes. I got it back in 6 months. That's not revenge. That's just math.